Alright guys, I figured I would make this quick little intro to this video series that I'm going to be working on for all of you. I've received a lot of questions asking about how I make my overlays and how I make the graphics and get all the webcams set up and everything. So I figured I would write up a little tutorial. So this tutorial is going to cover a lot of topics in depth. It's going to be pretty lengthy and there's going to be a lot of information fed to you. So take notes. But once you do it once, it's really straightforward. And I will give you the tools on how to create an overlay similar to the one that you're watching a video of. And you can take the skills that you learn from this and kind of run with it and just build your own. But before we do that, let's start with the question of why do we stream? Why is it such a big thing these days to watch somebody on something like Twitch TV play a game, or to watch a video of somebody playing a game that they uploaded to YouTube? Like, for example, PewDiePie, who's one of the biggest people on YouTube that uploads videos of him playing games. Now, is it because he's really good at games? Is it because he's really funny? No. He's really not good at games, and depending on who you are, he's really not that funny. It's because of something a little more scientific, and it's a little more in depth, and it lies in psychology and physiology, really. You have these things called mirror receptors, and basically, in a nutshell, if you watch somebody do something, you kind of enjoy or you're entertained by them doing this thing. This is why we watch TV and movies. This is why TV and movies have characters. If it didn't have characters, then it would just be random people walking around and have absolutely no method to their madness. If we wanted to do that, we would just go outside and people watch, right? This is why we follow characters, because we are empathizing with the characters. We can relate to what they're doing, or we enjoy watching what they're doing. We gain that same satisfaction as they are performing their task. If that sounds a little bit confusing, basically, if you're watching somebody play a game, you get the same enjoyment of playing the game as they are just by watching them. And whether you know if you're doing it or not, it's something that happens psychologically. It's actually kind of cool. So this is why we stream, because one, we enjoy playing the game, but two, because we know that others will enjoy watching play. So some of the topics that I'm going to cover in this series will be creating the graphics for your overlay. I'm going to go in depth with creating all the little bars that you can see that kind of outline all the windows and everything else, and how to add textures and stuff like that. Now, all this will be pertaining to Photoshop, because that's what I use, but you can get GIMP, which I will provide a description in the link below, or sorry, I'll provide a link in the description below, and you can download GIMP, and it's pretty much the same as Photoshop without all the extra bells and whistles, and it's free. Now, I'm not 100% adept with GIMP, so if you have questions with it, you're going to have to rely on Google. But it's pretty much straightforward. It's pretty much the same thing as Photoshop. But this will all pertain to Photoshop. I will also go over using OBS. Now, OBS is Open Broadcaster Software. It's kind of like XSplit, but it's free. And basically, what it does is it takes all the graphics that you've created. It takes your screen capture so that it can see the actual game. It takes your webcams, everything, and it all slaps it all together. And what you see on OBS is what your viewers will see. And so I'll go over in depth on how to add everything to that, how to add all your graphics to it, how to add your webcams, how to crop down the webcams. It does get a little tedious, I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little bit of extra work, but it shows. The more extra effort you put into your overlay and into your game, people will notice that. I'm also going to cover on how to use Roll20. Now you might be asking yourself, well, we're using Fantasy Grounds. Why would we want to even, bother with Roll20? Because even in this day and age, everybody tries using things like Skype and Google Plus and things like that, and they just don't quite work well with the webcams. If somebody leaves the Skype chat, they drop their internet connection, the cams are going to kind of shift and change sizes, and it's just a big pain in the ass. If you use Roll20, it automatically has all your webcams set up. Also, you can do all your voice chat right through that, and you can stream music, like background sounds, music, and such, all through Roll20. So you'll see how this kind of works out. It sounds a little confusing at first, but I'll break it down for you. It'll be pretty easy. And then I'll be going over some streaming tips and tricks, such as your video and audio bitrate. And if that sounds a little bit confusing to you, don't worry. I'll break it down in layman's terms once we get to that point. But basically, it's setting the quality of audio and video, but not so high as it's going to cause lag and frame drop, but high enough that it will, be of good quality when your viewers are watching. And then I will go over setting your video resolution and testing your stream before you actually put it online for everyone to see live. And then finally, I'll cover a little bit of topics related to actually streaming for the first time, some issues that people have and how to fix those things on the fly. And then I'll go over a couple little tidbits on Twitch alerts, which is basically something that pops up to notify you if somebody follows or subscribes or donates to you. And not only do you see it, but the viewers will see it. So if Ladiesman123 subscribes, it'll pop up and say that. And then you can be like, oh, hey, thanks Ladiesman123 for subscribing. And they feel more involved because they see their name pop up and they're going to continue to watch. And then also if you set a goal like, oh, I want 100 subscribers, you can use that to kind of go off of. It gives you an idea of who's subscribing, because otherwise you're not going to know until you go and read your email later and it tells you the list of people that subscribed. But that's basically all I'm going to really cover, and these will be broken down into about 7 or so different parts. Some of them are going to be pretty lengthy, but I guarantee by the end of this you will have some pretty sweet looking overlays. And if you do have any other questions, feel free to always either message me on the Fantasy Grounds forums. My username is Vishera, Vishera, or you can just drop a question below here on YouTube. So anyways, that's all I got for this one, and we'll see you guys over at the part 2 of this video.